McCabe, who's just been acclaimed as the president of the Ontario Federation of Agriculture. Don, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Don, on the stage there, you said you called this past year, your first year as president of the OFA, the most interesting year of your life. I was wondering if you could comment a little bit on that. I mean, first year under let's say, your guidance, some challenges along the way, especially with the organization's perceived support of neonic regulations. When you look back in the first year, how do you assess?
Well, thank you for the question. I would offer that I found it extremely interesting because it allowed me to make use of some of my acquired knowledge and tools over life. It allows me to be able to move forward in an industry that I love and want to see flourish. And I hope that I'm illustrating that I have a opportunity to do that. I'm certainly not the best in the business of delivering a message. I just hope I'm never the worst. And on the issue of the neonic thing directly, perception did play a lot of a role there. The hard reality is that it was a very, very inflamed issue. It was also a very concerning issue for where we're moving ahead to. At the end of the day, the OFA wants to ensure all the tools stay in the toolbox for farmers no matter what. And we never supported the neonic regulations. We've stated that in other communications, and we still do not support the need for neonic regulations. But we do support the need for a complete pollinator strategy because it's bigger than just seed treatment when you're looking at the pollinator strategy, because there's so many factions there. The reality is Ontario farmers need to have the opportunity to harness the best technology, whether we're talking seed treatments, seeds, equipment, satellite imagery, whatever. The OFA will be there to ensure that we bring that stuff down.
Talk about, you spoke about, from the podium again, about, hey, we're in a new world right now. Everything from sustainability, we talked about it here today, phosphorus, trade missions, climate change. What lies ahead for the next year of the OFA?
Well, I believe the issue of going back to take a hard look at the mandate letters that both a provincial majority and a federal majority government are looking at will offer us direction where we need to go. At the same juncture, we also need to ensure that we're not ignoring what we want done, what we need to take to the government to get them enthralled about it, to see them move it forward. So at the end of the day, there will be numerous topics, but the reality is it's not going to be the age-old deal of I need to raise the yield of something. The dialogue isn't there. The dialogue is into words of urban recognition.
Talk about those two majority Liberal governments. In Ontario, we've got a cabinet that's got representation, cabinet ministers from 19 urban ridings. How is the OFA's work changing with, I guess, the changing structure of the government in the last couple of years?
Number one, I am not a fan of worrying about whether it's urban or rural. This is a government for the province, because if we start worrying about urban versus rural, that becomes defeatist and, oh man, we should only really talk to the rurals. No, we talk to the government because they're going to make rules for this entire province. Number two, where does most of the food processing exist in Ontario? It's in Toronto. That's urban jobs. That's urban growth. That's urban opportunity. It's rural opportunity at the same time, because who the heck's got the feedstock? So all of a sudden, this isn't a rural opportunity or an urban opportunity. This is an Ontario opportunity. We got to harness this stuff. And those 19 urban cabinet ministers are all in charge of a certain department that suddenly, Brad Dogood, economic development, looking for economic development, Ontario Agriculture is your source. Charles Sousa, finance minister, we're your number one industry, dude. We got to talk. The urban thing, I don't accept it. I feel we have to move past it and get back to work.
Question for you. What do you think, are going to be a couple of the issues that are going to dominate the next year? Obviously, talk of phosphorus, Bill 66 is on the top of that level. What do you see as, I guess, your biggest challenges in this year ahead?
So I'm going to use two broad topics because then you can capture a lot of stuff underneath of it. Number one is infrastructure. There's got to be money to flow for infrastructure. The OFA has a definitive strong interest in ensuring we do not lose another summer season of getting natural gas pipeline installed in this province. Alberta, Saskatchewan, practically, Alberta is at 100%. Saskatchewan, I think, is darn close. Manitoba is closing in. Ontario only at 20%. The infrastructure of roads and bridges. We have municipalities now shutting down access to some on some roads because the bridges down the road further aren't up to snuff. And the lack of broadband internet is horrible in certain regions of this province. We've got to resolve that. On the other side, it's environmental. And that, what I want folks to understand is, as farmers, that's one field. It has the opportunities of moving forward only with proper stewardship. And it's that farmer who's going to do it and sequester carbon, take care of biodiversity, handle phosphorus, look at water quality. We're going to do it all. And by the way, you're still going to get fed with the cheapest food basket in the world. But that always has to be communicated properly and with passion that the OFA knows how to do.
Final question for you, Don. You had an executive here today from McDonald's talking about sustainability and the need for farmers to tell their story. It's such a big part of the need for communication going forward. Where does what role can the OFA play in that? And obviously, it's farmers that've got to do it as well.
Exactly. So the OFA can be what I would call a conduit or a prism to this, because we see these things. So we know who we want to talk to or who's in a region. If we need to take somebody out of Ottawa, well, we got members in the Ottawa area. Whose farm can they go to have a chat? So we need to move people out, and that's why the OFA has been doing lobby days that pulled people this past year on August 12th to Charles Stevens' orchard and Al Goma's packing yard in that area to illustrate what's going on there, and we'll do that again. At the end of the day, it's always about building more knowledge base, because information is flowing so fast. And as farmers, I don't want to do that. I'm not into that. I'm good at, I know when that cow is going to have calf because I just know. The reality is, that's great you know that, but we also are going to need the help of your son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter, niece, nephew, to help us in this whole new world of social media to move it forward. Because social media will define social license. And social license is as simple as, who do you trust? We got to make sure they know us and can trust us.
Well, good stuff, sir. Hey, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations again, and we'll talk much over the next year.
Thank you very much, sir.